Well, this weekend sees the start of the Lib Dem conference in Brighton, and earlier this week the party leader, Sir Ed Davey, gave us his reaction to the findings of the Grenfell Inquiry.
Well, that horrific tragedy that lost 72 lives and has left the survivors, the family, the friends, people who were hurt in that fire, that still is a scar on the state. And the inquiry's recommendations have to be implemented as soon as possible. I would absolutely support there being a timetable for the implementation of those recommendations. I understand the government needs to reflect on some of them, but whether it's dealing with a cladding, for example, that's been known about for a long, long time, and very little progress was made, nowhere near enough under the last government, and we think the government needs to really get cracking on that. And Liberal Democrats have led on getting stronger fire regulations, for example. I mean, Daisy Cooper really pushed the Conservatives, and they failed on this, I'm afraid. Now we've got the inquiry's recommendations. I hope people can come together and make sure they're implemented very quickly.
Well, Sarah, I'm just going to come to you first on this. Obviously, this is your party leader. Sir Ed there talking about this time frame to act on the inquiry findings. Can you just elaborate?
Well, obviously, this week we've seen the production of the report from Martin Morbick about everything to do with the disaster itself, what led up to it. But I think most importantly is what are we going to do now? And what the Liberal Democrats are calling for is immediate, urgent action to remove flammable cladding from the exterior of buildings where it's still in place. And it's 7 years since that appalling tragedy and 72 people lost their lives, and there are still people in London, across the country, living with this flammable cladding on the outside of their buildings. It's been really useful to learn more about how this has come about. We've seen some appalling failings, I think, particularly around the building industry and how this has come about. But we've got to get on with removing that cladding. And
there you just specifically meant London. You spoke about London. 1,300 buildings in London still not safe. What is the extent in your constituency, Uma? Have you managed to find out?
Well, look, it's a serious problem, and Sarah's right that it's been too many years. It's 7 years. The families and victims' families and the wider Grenfell community have been waiting for justice, and it's been terrifying for them. And recently in London, we've seen a fire in a neighbouring borough to where my constituency is.
And very concerning.
Yep, terrifying. And my inbox, the emails coming through, it was really, really terrifying. We've one ward in particular in Stratford, in Olympic Park, so near the old former Olympic Stadium. 94% of that ward are high-rise, and the vast majority have got cladding issues, and residents are absolutely terrified. And they've been waiting a long time. They're living in flats that are unsafe.
Absolutely, they have. And one of your neighbouring MPs, Rushnara Ali, has been appointed Minister for Building Safety. Have you spoken to them? Have you spoke about the issues, the problems, your concerns, and what have they said?
Yeah, so just actually this week I met with Rushnara, who's now a minister for this, and I met with her officials in her department, and I made very clear the concerns that residents in Stratford and Bow have, but not just Stratford and Bow, it's throughout London, throughout the country. All MPs want to see change here. We need to see step change. She's under no illusions about the scale of the challenge ahead. I was in Parliament this week when there was a statement on cladding. I tried to ask a question, but it was a busy session, as it should be. There's a lot of people that have questions on this. The Prime Minister himself has said it can never again see this happen, and I have every faith that they're going to see this through.
Okay, well, both clearly a priority for you.